Hi everybody, you're back with the Lone Wolf again. Welcome to the show. Today I want to talk about the concept of marriage and what it means in 21st century Western society. Numerous other commentators have been addressing this topic for years and years, but I thought I'd give my own thoughts on it. The notion of marriage from a cost-benefit perspective holds absolutely no value for men in this day and age. If I think back to Dr. Helen Smith's excellent book Men on Strike, link in the description, she outlines a number of sensible reasons for why more and more men aren't tying the knot. It seems that marriage holds a number of benefits for women, but I can't think of any for men. The penalties are extremely severe, or can be, and there is scant reward for making such a commitment. I remember a YouTube comment on a video a while back that said, "Never sign a contract with somebody who benefits from breaking it," and that is Zen wisdom, in my view. Avoiding marriage is not a consequence of a feckless, lazy attitude towards society. It's a sound and rational proposition. Let's break the whole thing down. The corporation. When you marry, you're essentially inviting the government into your life and making your relationship a corporation. If anybody comes at me with some potential benefits of marriage, all of those benefits or desirable aspects can be gained through a standard relationship or cohabitation. You don't need to invite the government into your life. I've seen so many family members and friends tie the knot without the slightest regard or appreciation of just what they're doing to themselves, who they're bringing into the fray. So many have this juvenile fairy tale idea of what married life will be like, but still nobody can tell me how it benefits men over just being in a relationship. Thankfully, more and more men are starting to view all this with caution and instead are shunning the convention after carefully assessing the potential costs. You also have to look at the culture. I can't think of a married man depicted in any of the TV shows from the last 20 or 30 years who hasn't been a complete dweeb, loser, wimp, who's always saved by his wife. None of them really exhibit masculine traits, and if they do, they're shown as toxic. Staying single, according to an article in Time, means you're less likely to gain weight, more likely to exercise, and more likely to have a greater amount of close friends in your life. Importantly, you're hedging yourself against the risks of marriage, keeping your freedom and independence, and most importantly, keeping the state out of your personal and emotional affairs. You're also more likely to get bedroom fun than after you've signed your life away. And this issue about men being relegated to the worst parts of the house, the darkest parts, the dirtiest parts, the shed, the garage, and so on, screw the man cave, my house is my man cave. The divorce rate. In the United States, the divorce rate is 50%. 50% of all marriages in the US will end in divorce. 41% of all first marriages end, but this likelihood increases with subsequent marriages if you're foolish enough to get into the fray again. 60% of second marriages and 73% of third marriages end in divorce, with the US having the 6th highest divorce rate in the world. Every 13 seconds there is a divorce in the United States, so that means, astonishingly, that there are roughly 9 divorces in the time it takes for a couple to say their wedding vows. Make no mistake, the divorce industry is big business. So who initiates all these divorce proceedings? Well, it varies on average, but 66% of divorces are initiated by women, but this has reached 75% in some years. The groups with the most prolific experience of divorce are low earners, baby boomers, non-Christians, African Americans, and people that consider themselves politically liberal. I've included a link in the description with the source for this data if you want to do your own follow-up. What about cohabitation before getting married? Well, it turns out 60% of cohabiting couples get married, but living together before marriage increases the risk of divorce by 40%. No-fault divorce, child support, and alimony. What happens when divorce rears its head? Well, in the age of no-fault divorce, one party can file for divorce without proving that the counterparty did anything wrong, and no-fault divorce is allowed in all US states. That and the fact that either party can throw the marriage vows out of the window till death do us part. I mean, why say it if it means nothing? Why stand there and say it if it's not binding? Obviously, I can understand if there's abuse of a physical and emotional nature. One of my close family members got divorced a few years ago and was cleaned out by his ex-wife. It didn't matter that she had cheated on him. I mean, this woman was completely provided for. She went on all the best holidays, didn't have to worry about anything around the house. He paid for her hobby jobs, a vanity degree. The only saving grace was that the kids were all grown up, but she bore no consequences for destroying the relationship. It's just standard that you will lose at the bare minimum half your stuff. and will likely lose custody of your children. Indeed, 43% of children in the US are raised without their fathers, and 90% of divorced mothers have custody of their children. You also have child support to factor in. Over 79% of custodial mothers receive child support, but just under 30% of custodial fathers do. Child support, depending on where you live, is a concern. Now, obviously everybody should pay their child support obligations, but you are essentially on the hook until the child gets to the age of 18. I don't know how it works elsewhere, but often you have to pay child support beyond the age of 18 until the child completes their first tertiary education course. You can end up paying child support oftentimes without being able to see your children, and those payments will increase if you get better paying work. The implication being that your children should be able to benefit from your improving financial circumstances even if you aren't able to see them. Where's the incentive there to improve and better yourself? The ex-wife doesn't have to do anything. If you don't pay child support, you could get banged up, losing your freedom entirely. So this is a tremendous risk. All of this doesn't even address the issue of alimony, the practice of keeping a former spouse in the living conditions to which they are accustomed. Men pay the overwhelming percentage of alimony, 97%, with only 3% of men receiving post-divorce spousal maintenance. You just have to look at the recent examples of Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos, and Bill and Melinda Gates. Both Mackenzie and Melinda will be the two richest women on planet Earth, and the only reason for this will be that they decided to divorce their husbands. I can think personally of at least 5 marriages in my family that have ended in divorce, and that doesn't include friends and acquaintances. I like to sum it up with this question: would you jump out of a plane with a 50-50 chance of your parachute opening? You need that mentality when you're going into addressing the issue of marriage. The single life is better than ever. Who can imagine a better time to be alive as a human, the average human, than right now? 100 years ago, most men would have to earn a living with back-breaking labour, either in a factory, down a mine shaft, or in a foundry, for example. Back then, regular bedroom fun made sense as a recreational activity, and as a source of entertainment. The late Paul Proteus, in one of his seminal videos, spoke a great deal about men just being over bedroom action as a motivating factor in their lives. There are just too many sources of amusement and entertainment. If you like beer, there are now thousands of craft beer companies in North America alone. You could try a new beer each week and it would take you years to sample them all. Take television and video games. With the rise of Netflix and other streaming services, there is so much high quality content to consume that is on par with big Hollywood productions that it's almost impossible to keep pace with it all. I myself derive hours of enjoyment from video games, many titles being as immersive and emotionally stimulating as movies if you take Red Dead Redemption 2, Witcher 3, God of War, and many more. You could watch YouTube non-stop for the rest of your life, videos to satiate your every interest, and barely even scratch the surface. Single men, bachelors, also get more bedroom fun than married guys, which is just the cherry on the cake. Of course, you also have adult entertainment that is also completely free, with millions of videos online across any number of categories and niches that you can think of. So to sum up, avoid marriage. You keep your space, maintain self-determination, independence, and freedom. I hope that you enjoyed my analysis and found it useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. And to end this video, for a change, I thought I'd share some immortal wisdom about marriage from the legend that is Charlie Harper.